Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Sons of the Forest. This video is simple but a juicy one. I'm going to show you how to very easily completely change the building system by disregarding what the game considers structural supports. Now this method requires no mods, it will save and load the build every time, even after an update. I'm going to get right to how to do this and then show you some ideas I got as well as tips and tricks to make it even easier. And please let me know what you guys come up with. This really opens up a golden door to creative building in this game. So after figuring this out, the first thing that came to mind was a levitating base because I mean it's the most obvious. I'm going to build something random, I don't know, like a 3x1, 2 stories tall. You'll notice I'm going around in a circle building everything in order. This becomes very important later. Now for a small build and especially larger ones, we want to do the least amount of work as possible, just playing the game and not using console commands. So I'm going to add struts on the corners and remove the pillars in between. It's easy enough. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Because I'm recording, the game's going to cooperate with me. But what if we want to get rid of the rest of this and have a floating base? Most of the beams down low will let me remove them, but what I've learned is that the corners get wonky. It's hard to explain, but you'll see what I mean later. Now that all that's gone and we want a floating base, here's the meat and potatoes. Now the first out of the 2 commands we need is toggle structure resistance debug. And yeah, say that 10 times fast. I feel like I need to take a breath in the middle of it. Now this command shows us everything we built or placed as well as the strength of every structure. Now we want these beams and pillars to be removed, which brings me to the next command, which is destroy. I'm going to destroy, in this case, pillar 640, and you'll notice destroy actually removes. It does not collapse my build. Continuing on, we'll destroy pillar 641, and this is what I was talking about earlier, especially with bigger builds. It makes it so much easier to build in line, and then just add or subtract a number to a beam, pillar, strut, etc. After the pillars are gone, we have a floating base, and the beams that used to be structural can simply be picked up. We don't need commands for that anymore. And now that we have a floating base, you may ask, can I build on top of it or off of it? The answer is yes. You can do whatever you want. When you use this method, everything builds completely normal. It all works as if the pillars, beams, struts, whatever, are still there. Now if I build off of this, everything goes as usual, but the game isn't going to want the new pillars to be removed. Now do we care what the game wants? Nope. Let's destroy all of these, and again I want to emphasize on building things in order to make this so much quicker and easier. And if you do, I'm not going to speed up or edit this part. This is how fast it can be done by adding or subtracting one number. Easy. This is what my work of art looks like, and let's add another caveat on top of that. I'll probably speed this up, but let's save and reload and see what happens. And yes, my friends, everything covered in this video saves and loads every time, even with an update. You can also take out parts that you didn't like afterwards, and if you want to add something back or keep building onto the original structure, it'll always work. This is light years better than my old method in every possible way. Alright, so now that we know how to do it and have all the basic stuff covered, I want to show you some examples of how to use this more creatively than just a stupid floating base. Now I'm going to go through all these really quickly, but if you want a full tutorial on anything in this video, just let me know. Now the first idea is very modern looking stairs that are becoming popular these days. To get started, I'm going to build stairs with a wall on just one side, but also do this very strategically to make it faster, but also possible to be built off of it later if I wanted to. Now, I made a full video on stairs with walls, but very quickly, instead of stacking full logs, I'm going to place a 3/4 down first and bring down the ramp. Now you'll notice that you get this double weird kind of icon. That will allow you to stack the logs rather than cut them off and hide the ramp inside of the wall. And the game will stop you on the last one because that needs to be a full log. At this point, if you get the curved arrow, do not place this log yet. To change this icon to what we want, simply place any number of stairs to lock it in place, and the icon will switch to a vertical pillar. And now it'll connect at the top. Now this makes building off of it, if I was going to, possible. Never, ever build walls by only stacking them in this game without columns. You'll absolutely hate yourself for it later on in your build. Now that we have this put together, if I inspect the beams, you'll notice that a few are loose. But the building system in this game is weird. If I remove one beam, the other one is going to become locked. And just like we did before, we're going to destroy anything that can't be removed. And I also want to point out again that after you destroy certain supporting structures, the game will actually let you remove what were quote-unquote supporting without needing console commands. With everything removed that I don't want, this is what this particular staircase looks like. It's pretty cool. And again, saves like this and can be added onto later if you'd like. And if you'd like to remove more, have at it. There's no limitations. Moving on to another modern looking staircase, I'm really going to start moving fast here. These are all examples, and I'm just trying to point out important tips. And I know I say things like it should be self-explanatory, but I do understand that stuff like this can get confusing. This is going to be a 2-story staircase going 90 degrees with a landing. When you get this far, just like before, we're going to remove everything possible before using the destroy command. After we destroy everything with console commands that couldn't be manually removed, the beams underneath and above can be removed like you would normally without messing around. And with everything removed, this is what this idea looks like. Not too shabby. The next thing I came up with was vaulted ceilings. I'm gonna make this small for the video, but this could obviously be obnoxiously bigger. I know I'm probably a broken record, but now that this is getting more complex, we really want to go around in order to keep each number going up by 1. This makes the process into F1, arrow up, delete one number, and change it to one number higher. And we especially want to use this where we know we're going to be using the destroy command a lot. Now in this instance, I know all of the supports are going to be destroyed in the middle, as well as the beams above, so I'm going to place everything in a line. And you'll see here that the numbers go up by 1 on each, so this will be very easy later. And I'm going to use the same exact method for the second floor as well as the roof. Now to keep the creativity going, on one side of the roof, I'm going to use regular roofing. On the second half, I'm going to use stairs to kind of give it more of like that like gazebo feel. Now the bigger the builds get, the more struts you're going to have to use to initially get rid of as much as possible without commands. The most efficient way to do this is to put them on corners or every 5 logs on a big build. And now that the struts are in, remove every log or stone that the game will let you. With that all gone, now we can start removing the struts, and on a small build, this shouldn't be much of an issue. Well, as soon as I said that, there's already an issue. You can hear that one's trying to go, but it's not the one I want. I can't remove this one. So we're going to get rid of it by using the destroy strut followed by the number. That solves that, and now we can keep moving around until we find another problem. Well, there's another problem. We'll come back to it. Alright, so with everything else out of our way, let's get rid of these remaining struts busting our chops and then work on getting rid of the middle. If you took my broken record advice in the building process, you'll notice that each beam and pillar go up by 1 number, which makes this step extremely easy. All I'm doing here is remembering that the pillars I need to remove are 2657 to 2661. And I'm destroying them one after the other by just starting at the lower number and going up 1 every time. I don't even have to look. I'm going to use the same exact easy method with the beams since we built them in order. I'm going to remove beams 6340 through 6344 the same way I did with the pillars. Now at this point, it's probably a good idea to throw on a full roof as well as a floor for a real build, not a mock-up like this. There's a bug, it's very, very rare from testing, but it can happen where it won't let you add a floor or roof when we go further. And to finish it off, we can get rid of these beams as well, giving it more of like an outdoorsy kind of feel. And I want to mention that if you want to leave these beams in for that kind of look, you should probably leave the pillar in the center. I mean, you can add the cutoff logs in without it, but it kind of looks like shit. What else is interesting is that the destroy command works on everything that you place or build, as well as some other things. I'll save that for a different video. Even fires. So like in this case, I'll destroy fire 27, and then I test it out a little more. So I decided to test the fence. If I build a really quick fence and add wires to it to make it electric, and then obviously add the solar panel, battery, and wire it up, it'll electrocute me. Obviously. But I thought, now what happens if I remove all the fencing? So the wires are still there, but does it still work? Yes, it does, and it works on both sides. But I can pass through it now. And what if we get rid of the posts as well? Everything still works like a charm. Now, if you remove the solar panel or the battery, this all changes. Now none of it does anything. So it's kind of interesting that the game takes this into effect, but not the building. It's weird. And for this monstrosity, I'm not even going to explain it. I mean, that would be like a 2-hour video on itself. But when you combine everything, commands as well as struts, you name it in the video, it really shows off that you can do whatever you want, as big as you want with this method. I mean, if you want an open concept, you got it here. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. Until the next one, see ya!